So in one of the communities that I'm in when it comes to AI and automation, there was this challenge. We're kicking off the new year with our first Make Money Hackathon, and we're tackling the big one, automating lead follow-ups with personalized pain targeting copy based on past conversation. So that is what it's all about. Challenge requirements. Your system should identify leads to follow up today. Pull a list based on a next follow-up date field, Google Sheet, ClickUp, Airtable, etc. Draft personalized follow-ups. Create messages targeting the pain points from prior interactions. Simplify review and sending. Allow for easy editing and dispatching. Example, a drafts folder or a similar solution. Identify follow-up tracking. Automatically reset the next follow-up date field. And tools are up to you. There's a timeline. Start and submit by Monday 6th, which is in like 7 days. And the submission format. Post a max 2-minute Loom video. And yeah, selection process. Perfect. So what I want to do in this video is essentially turn on my camera, share my screen, and build this while recording the video, because I think there's a lot of lessons that can be learned along the way. I haven't really thought about how I'm going to build this, so it will be pretty much trial and error, going back and forth until I find a solution to what I'm trying to accomplish here. In order to get started, what I'm going to do is basically come up with the things that the system should do based on what I've just read right here. So the first thing is the aim. So we want to automate lead follow-ups with personalized pain targeting copy based on past conversation. And that's quite a mouthful. So number one is automate. And I just realized that this can't be seen. So let's put this here. So automate. Oops. Okay, that's weird. So lead, choose that. Automate lead follow-up. Number two is use personalized pain targeting copy. And it needs to be based on past conversations. So that is the aim. The system needs to follow, as we said, 4 different steps. Number one, it should identify these to follow up today. So that immediately means that if I'm going to use, so in terms of tools, I'm going to go with make.com, which will be the no-code automation tool that brings everything together. And I'm going to use Airtable. And that should pretty much be all that is needed, because then essentially, and this isn't part of the competition, you could use something like Instantly to send the personalized emails that you need to send on the right date directly to Instantly. So you grab the data from Airtable, use an API call, and you send the data right there. But obviously this is not part of what was required. So if we go back here, number one is identify leads to follow up today. So in our table, let's start thinking about what our Airtable database will look like. So we need to have the name. So this can be first and last name. We need to have the email of the person. We should have the first contact date. I think it would be useful to have. Let's have technically you could go as deep as you want it to go, but to keep it simple, I think first contact date, next contact date. We want to have the pain points. So targeting the pain points from prior interactions. So I think would have a field called conversation, which will be an updated list Again, I'm realizing that I'm sharing this in the wrong aspect ratio. So let's make this smaller. So name, first, last. We have the email, we have the first contact date, next contact date, the conversation. So conversation like prior. And this will keep adding, to it. So if this is the conversation from before, when we have an additional conversation, we can keep this and add to it. And we just keep adding to this. So it will be like one big record of text. I think that's pretty much it. We need to have a way to identify leads to follow up today. So next contact date here in our table, this can be one view. So Airtable view 1, but then we could also have Airtable view 2, which essentially just pulls in this next contact date. And then what we do is that every day we check whether this next contact date is equal to today. And if it is, it pulls it into this Airtable view 2. So like that, we know that if we look at this Airtable view 2, those are the leads that we will need to contact on that day. With this information, we're also able to draft personalized follow-up, so create messages targeting the pain points from prior interactions. This is great. Simplify the review and sending, so allow for easy editing and dispatching. So over here, we can't just go ahead and send the information. So let's actually define what goes into Airtable view 2. So let's just remove that. Okay, not sure what I just did there. Let's go back here. Just want to grab this, remove it from here, and just paste in here. So in this Airtable view 2, first of all, this will be when the next contact date is equal to today. So that is what will define Airtable view 2. That's the first thing. What we need to do here is when a record enters this view, so when record enters view, a few things need to happen. Number one, we need to pull up previous conversation. We need to craft next message. And we need to review message. And when I say we, technically I mean this is AI plus automation, and this is human. So this is where the manual review will happen. So take that and make it smaller. And finally, we need to update the follow-up and tracking information. So automatically resets the next follow-up date. Okay, so that shouldn't be too difficult. So after we have this, the final step will be to update next contact date to be, I don't know, today plus 7 days, for example. If we're following up every 7 days or every week. So that will be what needs to happen right there. And I think with that, we can start building. So the way I see it is that we need to have two different Airtable views potentially, or tables, remains to be seen. All the information will need to connect with make.com when it comes to generating the new contact information or the new messages, the new emails that we will send. And then, that's pretty much it. So what I also need, just to ensure that the system is working well, is a list of stuff when it comes to this like populated data. So I need to use an AI in this case, or I will use an AI to generate some fake data. Name, which is first, last email, first contact date, next contact date, and the prior conversation. For this example, the conversation prior should be different for each record. So, for example, with some, we might have, I don't know, 2 conversations, right? With some, we might have 20. With some, it might be 12. So the back and forth between the conversations, just for this test data, we need to have some data to work with right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get started building this system. Should be pretty good. I'm just pull up Make.com here. I have a new Airtable here that I just created called this. And yeah, let's get started. Let's just come up with some data though and populate that in our Airtable. So here, I'm just going to say I need to come up with fake data for the following fields. Name, which includes first name and last name. This should be separate. I need the email of the person, the first contact date, the next contact date, which should be some point in the future. And just FYI, today is the 31st of December. I also need to have a field with conversation prior. This should be a lot of conversations back and forth between myself, a person that runs an AI automation agency, and someone that is interested in my services. For each record, the length of the conversation should be different. For example, with some contexts, it might be just 2 conversations back and forth. With others, it might be 12 or 18 or 20, etc., etc. I want examples for 10 different contexts based on the above. So let's see what we managed to get here. And now I'm just thinking about how to best get this data and then insert it into our table. So one way to do it would be to import it to a Google Sheet here or a CSV file. So I might ask ChatGPT to give me this in a CSV file. So let's see, Gary Rogers at yahoo.com, conversation. Hi Gary, have you considered automation for your business? I'm interested, but I have a few questions. Okay, I don't know why that is repeated like that. Okay, that's not a good conversation. All right. I like it apart from this conversation field. Let's look at the first contact date. So 2024, November. All right, great. So that looks good. Next contact date should all be in the future, I said, right? Which I think that didn't really work well. Yeah, should be at some point in the future. Today's date is 31st of December. Okay, maybe I didn't specify the year, I guess. Okay. So let's close that. I like many parts of your output, but there are some things I want to update. The first thing is the next contact date. Just to rephrase or to make it clearer, the date today is the 31st of December, 2024. So all next contact dates should be in the future, i.e. they need to be in 2025. They should be in the near future as well. As for the conversation column, I don't think I can use any of the data that you provided because it's all the same. So essentially the conversation needs to be different for each person as they are searching for AI automations that I can offer within my business that can include anything within, I don't know, social media, HR, invoicing, fulfillment, and you can be as creative as you want there. Also, the conversations should be different from each other. It's not just the same 2 lines back and forth. So try again. So let's see what comes up now. It's taking its sweet ass time. Okay, let me just pause the video. All right, and we're back. So Update the data set to ensure all next contact dates are in the future and the conversations are unique. So let's see. First name, last name, email. First contact date, 2024. Okay. Next contact date is all in the future. Good. So January, February. Okay, that was good. Hello, Gary. Have you ever thought about using AI for customer support? I have, but I don't know where to start. We can set up a chatbot that answers common questions, saving your team time. That could really help. Can you provide examples? Of course. I'll email you the details. Potentially what we want is the conversation to have finished with, should it be that only the person, like Roger in this case, would be the last, or that I would be the last person that spoke, and I'm just following up because I didn't hear back? That might make more sense. Like here, if I say, perfect, I'll send you some options. I mean, yeah, maybe we did things manually, and now we want to switch to an automated system. Here I noticed that it is speaking about different systems, invoicing, HR, social media. Okay, so here Steven is the last person that spoke. I'll prepare a tailored plan for you. Okay, I mean, I'll prepare a demo and email you. I'm slacking here. If I last contacted the person in the past and I'll prepare all the stuff for you, but yeah. So maybe I'll update this one final time to say that the end of the conversations should be a bit more varied, in the sense that some are waiting for something that I send them. Some told me to contact them in the future. I like the new output. What I want to change in this fake data is that some of the conversations should end, or the last time I contacted the person, the conversation ended with me promising to send some information about what they requested. In other cases, I seem to have been ghosted by the prospect. In other cases, they are going to get back to me. So what I'm trying to say is that it should be random in terms of what happened last in each respective conversation. Okay, so let's wait for this to generate the updated list of fake data. And let's see what we have here. Hello, Gary. Have you ever thought of using customer AI for customer support? Gary, thanks. I'll look into it. I'll send over the information. Okay, I'll send over the information. I'll look out for it. Just checking to see if you're still interested in this. No response yet. Perfect. No response yet. Let's schedule a follow-up next week. Richard, sounds good. I'll check my availability. Okay, pretty good. Alrighty, so let's close this. I think I can download this. Not sure how it will download. And yeah, download it as a CSV. Perfect. So technically, if I go to my Airtable and upload from CSV, I should be able to just drag and drop that right there. Let's see. Not sure if I need to remove any headers here. Create a new table, sure. Here's the data you're importing. Check to make sure it's right. So I can configure those. Okay, so first name, last name, email. So this should be type email. First contact, date, and conversation, which is long text. Looks good. So hit import. And this should import the data. Perfect, directly here. Let's delete that. Let's call this contacts. And I think we're ready to go. So first contact date, 2024. Next contact date, 2025. And the conversation. Perfect. The next step would be to go into Make and start building stuff here. And actually, maybe before going into Make, what we want to do is create a new view and call it today's emails. or today's follow-ups. But this will be where the magic will happen. So this will be all data or all contacts. This will be today's follow-ups. And here, what we are potentially interested in would be, so let's hide some fields. Let's give the first name, last name. One thing I don't like here is that, I don't like that the first name is the primary field. So let's insert a new field, call it record ID, and this will be a formula. So equals record ID, create field, and let's set that as the primary field, because it would be very easy to have the same or another person called Gary in real life. So that's the first thing. Over here, are we interested in the email? I mean, not really. Here, the whole thing is about the approval of the next message. So here, what I would potentially add is next message, which will be a long text. We'll have an approval field. So this could be a checkbox. And just like that. So these we can hide from here. So filter, actually hide fields. Let's hide approval and next message here. And here, potentially we want to hide. We're not interested in the email, I guess, here. Because this will connect to a third-party system. Do want to have the first contact or next contact? Not really. Conversation, next message, and approval. I think that's pretty much what we want to have here. And here, what we want to do is filter where the next contact date is, exact date is today. Yeah. So now, if I go back here and change the next contact date to be today, this should display here, which it does. So now Gary needs to be contacted today. Right? Because the date is today. If I change that and go back or go forward to the future, this doesn't display Gary's name right there. So that is the logic that we'll be employing. Then we'll have this approval button or checkbox. If someone ticks it, that means that we are happy with the next message that will be generated right here. So the next step would be to essentially the people that are entered in today's follow-ups, we need to generate this next message for them. So this should be pretty easy. So let's just change a couple of these to today. So we'll have some data to work with. So we go back here. We now have 3 messages right there. 3 conversations, I should say, right there. So Gary, there's Angela, and there's Christopher. Now, the thing was that, now that I'm thinking about it, create personalized follow-ups, targeting the pain points from previous interactions. I think this could have been something that I did better. I mean, yeah, it's a hassle, time consuming. I don't know where to start. Okay, I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah, pretty much there are pain points that we can work with. Can we explore this? What kind of HR automations do you mean? Okay, there maybe not so many pain points there. I don't know where to start. Inventory is a challenge. Okay, yeah, we're good. So here in make.com, want to grab the information from the today's follow-ups view. And let's start from there. So Airtable, let's search for records in this base. The table is contacts. The view is today's follow-ups. And let's grab all the information about these people. So if we were to run this, we should get 3 records, bundle 1, 2, and 3. Great. So now, let's create an OpenAI completion and want to essentially create the next follow-up message. Let's remove that, choose the model. And then the message. System, you're an expert at creating follow-up messages that focus on the pain points discussed in previous messages. I run an AI automation agency and I want to create the next follow-up message to get in touch with a prospect and continue the conversation. Full stop. The follow-up message should focus on the pain points that the customer has experienced in the past and provide solutions based on this pain point. So here, we're going to pass along the name of potential client. Technically, it's a potential client. Potential customer. So it's Gary. The email we don't need. History of past conversation. Let's put that there. What I want is this module to output only the new message I should send. Dash, nothing else. Just realize that dash doesn't really get recognized. So, yeah, let's try it with Gary right here. And then we can also provide some examples. So, if I were to run this module only with the conversation that we have with Gary, so Gary, and that is the conversation. Is that okay? Hey Gary, I hope you had a chance to review the examples I sent over. I was reflecting on our conversation and it sounds like your team might be stretched in handling repetitive customer queries. That's a common challenge. So what I want to do here is add some rules. Like rules. That's one thing. Output short sentences. Output message should be FK level 4. CTA should, let's say we want to book a call, right? Should be soft and revolves around booking a call with our team or with me, Kevin. Let's see. Hi Gary. So if we had this, hi Gary, hope you had a chance. Let's make it a bit more informal. Hope you had a chance to actually use ChatGPT to help with this. Please make this more informal and use NFK level 4 in your output. Hope you got a chance to check out the examples I sent over. I was thinking about our chat and it seems like your team might be juggling a lot with repetitive customer queries. Totally get it. It's a common challenge. We've helped other teams free up time by setting up AI chatbots to handle those questions smoothly. Want to chat about how we could make something like that for you? Let me know when you're free. Okay, pretty good. I'm just going to line break it after each after each sentence. Because I think since these would be emails, it would look better in that email. So here I can include some examples, or just this one example, to provide context for what I want. So let's add a new message, user. Actually, what I want is to add an assistant here. And this is what I want. And what I want to pass along would be this. So name, would be Gary, previous conversation would be all that. So let's see. Potentially this will remove from here. Technically, let's combine this. It is kind of defining some information. So this we can remove. Then we have the rules. We have an example with the assistant, and then we have you would have another message. Not sure what I pressed there. So add message, user, and this is the actual example, actual data we're sending over. Which I think yep, that's the one I'm looking for. So let's see if this makes sense. So we have the system message, the user, rules, an example with Gary and the output. Okay, I got two assistants here. So I need to remove this. And then we have the actual input. So that looks good to me. Let's run this once more. And let's choose Angela. So in this case, let's just say that the name is equal to Angela. And that should only pull one record. Unknown field name. Okay, because we called it first name. Okay, save, run. We pulled Angela. Was it Graham? Yep. And the output. Hi, Angela. Hope you had a chance to review the options I sent over. And voicing doesn't seem to be... Actually, let's see what the conversation was all about. Hey, Angela. Do you find the voicing time consuming? Yes, still every month. AI can streamline the entire process for you, reducing errors and saving hours. That sounds exactly like what I need. Let's discuss this further. I'll send some options over. I'll look out for it. Okay. Hey, Angela. Hope you had a chance to review the options I sent over. And voicing doesn't have to be such a monthly headache. And the clients felt the same until AI tools eased the load for them. Would explore solutions that cut the time and stress for you too. When would you like to discuss? Best, Kevin. Okay. So this will now thinking about it, so now we have the next message, where we'll store this message that we just created. What we actually also want to do is potentially this wouldn't be part of this whole challenge, but once the email would get sent to the client, we empty this and we add it to the rest of the conversation. But for now, I'm just going to add it to the next message right here. So I'm going to go to Airtable. I'm going to update a record, which is this base, contacts, and let's just update the next message field with the result right there. Record ID can be empty. Perfect. And hit save. So now, if I remove the filter I have here, this will pull all three records and then create the entries for them. What I now want to consider is the approval process. So the way I'm thinking about it is that we need a way to be able to hit this button, and if this is selected, then we could have a make automation that runs every day, for example. That has to run every day, and this will grab the messages that are approved and also that have today's field, and then connect to instantly or an email sending tool. So I think that is what I'll do next. Potentially also, I'm just thinking whether I want to have another review here, but I don't think that is needed because it's just about approving these, and then make.com can simply grab the information and only proceed if the approval is ticked on or is selected. So let's do that. First of all, let's just populate these 3 fields to see that this is working correctly. So this should pull 3 pieces of data, and it should also populate these, which it is doing right here. Perfect. Let me see if this makes sense. So this was about invoicing as well. Let's see if we grab Angelo's invoicing, and let's see Gary, who was AI for customer support. Hey Gary, just following up. Did the examples I sent spark any ideas for your business? Starting with AI can feel overwhelming, but many clients, yeah, okay, great. Because he said, I don't know where to start. And here we have, our clients have seen time savings to their customers right away. Perfect. Let's hop on a call. What times works for you? Perfect. I like it's using simple language as I instructed. It's breaking up the emails, so it's 1 sentence per paragraph. Yeah, looks good. So now what I want here is another automation. So this could run, say, at 6 a.m., right? Or at an early time. What I want here is, this could be done in a couple of ways. Either as soon as you hit that button, you run an automation through Airtable that connects to make and inserts the new message in an email. Alternatively, I think the way I'm going to do it is that I can approve these, and then I run an automation that can happen at 8 a.m., for example. So if I wake up early, I know that anytime between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., I can do this approval. I can change anything that I don't like in this next message, and then I just hit approve. And then at 8 a.m., all the data that I approved, all the emails, next messages that I approved, get sent out to instantly. So all this requires now is to create another make.com scenario, which I have right here. And it will start with Airtable. It will search records in my base, same as before. Table is that. And now I want that the approval field, so in my view called today's follow-ups, the approval field is equal to, I guess, true. I guess that's the way to do it. Let's see. So if I approve this, technically it should only pull 1 record. Okay, the formula is invalid. So true is not the way to do it. Approval equals, what will it be? 1 maybe? Okay, yeah, it has to be 1. So Gary, and it didn't pull everything else. So if I were to change this to 0, I'm assuming that it would pull the other 2 records. Graham and Garza. Graham and Garza, perfect. So it's 0 and 1. All right, so let's change this to 1, because we want to only pull in the records that are approved. Then essentially, that's pretty much it. We can connect to something like instantly, and we can add a lead to a campaign. We just choose the campaign, and we add the lead with the campaign ID, lead email, which can grab from here. First name we know, so Angela, Graham, and we can have a custom variable, which is the next message. Or rather, this should be here, and then get a custom variable called next message. And that should be pretty much it. Campaign ID, yeah, we can choose which campaign ID we want to use instantly, and then that's pretty much it. So then we would run this potentially every day, let's say 8 a.m. Sure, 8, 9, whatever. Activate that, save it. Let me turn this up though. And this we would run again, let's say every day. If we're sending emails every day at potentially, 6 a.m. So this means that between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., we get a 3-hour window for us to look at these generated emails and then approving them. Now, the last part I need to build. So let's see where we're at. Identify list to follow up today. Pull a list based on the next follow-up date. Done. Draft personalized follow-up emails. Create messages targeting the pain points. Done. Simplify and review sending. Allow for easy editing and dispatching. Done. Update follow-up tracking. Automatically reset the next follow-up date for you. Perfect. So let's now assume that this has been sent to instantly, right? Once that happens, we need to update Airtable. So update the record. The base is that. We're going to update the contacts. Record ID we know. And all we need to do is under next contact date. Okay, we need to do two things. We need to update the next contact date, and we also need to erase the next message from this field and append it to the conversations field. So here, set date, no, add, I think it's add date, add days. We're going to grab the next contact date, which should be today. And let's see if this will work, and add 7. Let's say we have a 7-day follow-up policy. Hit OK. So that's the first thing. And now I want to grab again, this next message and append it to the conversation while removing it from next message. I also want to follow the same kind of principle here. So it will be open square bracket, you, close square bracket, and then the message I sent, potentially all on one line. So next message will be empty string. I think let me remember what it is called. Yeah, empty string, just lowercase. And for the conversation, let's grab the conversation we have so far. And then let's put a new line. Let's put in you to follow what we have here. And then we want to insert the next message here, but we want to replace the new lines. We just want it to be a space. So in this case, I'm just gonna use replace. And in my next message, I want to replace any new line with a space. And technically, at least in my head, that makes sense. Hit OK. I'm going to unlink this. And let's assume that for Gary here, we are ready to send the message, right? Because it's under approved. So what I'm expecting is that Gary in a second will get removed from here because the date will have changed. And this message will, as I said, be removed from here and appended to the conversation. So let's test this out. We go to make.com, hit run. Looks good on this side. Looks good here. So Gary is no longer here. If I go back here, Gary Rogers, let's see, next contact date is 2025 January 7th. Amazing. And here I have the next conversation. So there's some extra space here, which I'm good with. I have the you, so that follows the same principle. I have the email that I just sent, and it's all on one or in one single line with a space to remove, like to replace the new lines that I had before. So yeah, pretty good, pretty happy with that. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So in this video, which is 4 to 4 minutes long now, we've gone through the whole process as discussed. So we've automated lead follow-up with personalized pairing targeting copy based on past conversations. It identifies the leads to follow up today. So pull a list based on the next follow-up date. Draft personalized follow-ups based on pain points from prior interactions. Simplify review and sending. Great. And update the follow-up tracking. So that pretty much accomplishes all those criteria. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video in terms of me thinking through and building this whole thing. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. I'll speak to you soon.